Well, this is broke. Pretty sure my new speed controller that I had out on the water once is broke, or maybe breaking, and I'm broke. But several of you have contacted me via email saying, hey man, I want to throw a little bit of cash at this project to help support you. How can we do that? Well, now you can help out by joining the GoFundMe. Just throw a couple bucks in there. We've had one guy want to donate $100 to the thing, and that's fantastic because that's like half the price of a new speed controller. The goal of this project has always been for us, right, to figure out what works so that you don't buy the wrong stuff and spend $300 or $400 and then just blow it out. I wish it would have gone better. I wish we weren't just like melting cheap Chinese components, expensive, cheaply manufactured Chinese components. But that's what I'm looking for, is finding the right company that makes components that will actually last, because I can build a fast kayak. We already know that. I can build a long-range kayak. We already know that. But I need to build a fast, reliable, long-range kayak. That's where, you know, that's where it gets tough. So for all of you wanting to throw in a buck to whatever you want to throw in and see this project hit, absolutely would love the assistance on this. I've probably put in about $3,000 of my own money trying to figure this out. A lot of you also want to see a record broken or set, and I think we can do that. I think we can set a record for the fastest electric kayak, potentially even the fastest kayak out there. I'd be willing to try to go for that, as well as the record for longest range in a kayak. Like, I don't know, maybe we do one charge and try to hit 100 miles. That would be really, really cool. The issue is Guinness records are a little expensive, so therefore, again, that's there. If you want to see me break a record, throw the cash in the GoFundMe and let's do it. Okay, so we've got the motor on the bench. You guys probably aren't going to be able to hear this, but it always cogs when you rotate it due to the nature of the neodymium magnets inside, but it's loud. Bearings are still okay. So our problem lies inside. All right. She's a little chunky. She rotates fine though. So that bearing slid forward. Yeah, real light tap. Popped right out. Now this is not inside the bearing, but I want you to see that. This thing was spinning underwater for 2 or 3 hours, and it's still coated in the CRC Moly lube. That is fantastic. I'm really happy about that. That's some good lube, man. Well, we need to look inside the motor first and see what's going on in there. See if we have any changes after a big run like this last time where we put it through the paces for a very, very long time. You know, 3 hours sustained operation underwater. That's a good test to me. And we need to see what's going on with it, see if any heat is causing any of the varnish to come off the windings or anything like that. And I don't think we're going to have that much of a problem. But like I said, if this falls apart in a month, it's not worth the money. So what I can tell you is there's a lot of sand inside this system for never being anywhere near the bottom, right? We never ran over any sand. I did my best to make sure that we didn't get any sand in this, so all the sand that was in here, or ever is in here, is from the top surface of the water in like 15-foot deep water. So no matter what, sand gets in here. I don't care where you are, it's gonna happen. You're gonna get sand intrusion. So there's another reason why not to do this. So I completely tore the motor apart, cleaned it all up, put it back together, charged the batteries, and then ran the motor, and it didn't skip a beat. I believe it was a combination of low voltage and just sand inside the system. Now, a lot of you guys were expecting this to be a problem, and I was as well, but there's a lot of information on the internet that says you can just take these things and dunk them underwater and run them. That's probably fine for your bathtub, but you will have problems. They need to be sealed. So I have an idea for a gear reduction system that keeps this thing out of the water and will be able to get maximum efficiency out of the motor, as well as keep it dry and give us that longevity. That project is coming up soon, so stay tuned. Now we're going to get to the water test and installation of the big motor and the tilt and trim. Don't forget the Mr. Cool giveaway is coming up soon. We're going to be picking a winner, so thank you all very much. And thanks, Mr. Cool, for supplying that. I've got a video coming up here real soon where I'm going to show you guys how to do an install on a Mr. Cool unit of your own. You can put them in your shop, your house. You can pretty much put them anywhere. And they're fantastic units, and they're so cheap to run. Like, literally cut your electrical bill by putting one of these in your house. I absolutely love mine in my shop. It helps me to get my work done. This whole project was done at like 68 degrees. It's fantastic. Anyway, let's get back to the video. I don't do unboxings on camera, but we are going to do an unboxing on this because this is how this came. It didn't come in a box. Well, I mean, it came inside of a large box with other items, but it did not come with its own box. I thought that was a little bit weird because the one that went out came in a box. So what we're going to do is look to see, actually this is good because I can use this, use that foam. We're going to look to see right off the bat, and I wanted to do this on camera, if we have the same problem with this unit as we had with the other unit. Are these loose? If you notice right here, there is a ton of this sealant there, and they put that there to keep it from leaking, and then they need to tighten it down. Well, the last time it wasn't tight. These feel tight. See, I thought it was a fluke. I really did. These are definitely at least, I mean, they're tighter than I can put them in by hand. So, first things first, let's just try to unscrew it and see what happens. Oh yeah, no, it's not going to unscrew. And I'm not using a ton of force. I want to use enough to know if it would come undone. So I'm going to grab it a little bit harder now. I'm going to call these secure. Let's test them all. Let's check them all. Yep, absolutely secure. Nice. Yeah, someone was just having a bad day with that last unit, so that makes me feel a lot better. Now, you know, of course, we have to do a lot of testing with this one now that we have one that actually will function, and we have to see if it can actually handle the heat. You know, are these guys in the right location to where they're touching all the components inside that create the heat? There's just so much going on there. And so, but yeah, I'm happy to have this. This means we can test our big motor and get it back on the water. Next, I have a clip of the propeller that came with the setup, and I'm going to suggest that you guys don't buy that propeller, and here's why. This is video of me testing it. So I've got the big motor set up here on the bench. It's got the big prop on it, and I want to show you the run out on this coupler right here so you can see an issue that we have, and we're going to watch that climb. Bam! All the way up there. So, and that's on the center. That translates to the tips out here. It's going to be ridiculous. Let's try that. Okay, so I've got her centered on the edge right there, and it's going to be kind of hard for me to show you guys this, but I'm going to try. That was zeroed. Oh yeah, there we are. There's the next one. It doesn't even touch. And the next one doesn't even touch. So we have one really high. So we're clear there. We smack it like crazy there. And we touch it a little bit there. So no matter what I do, I can't get it straight. So let me know, all you prop masters out there, if this amount of run out on a propeller is normal. I mean, watch that dial spin when it touches. Oh, well over. Jeez, that's a lot. That's a lot. What a shame. So I just popped on Amazon. I picked this up for, I think it was 20 bucks, maybe less than that. And this is the propeller they should be using. You can see this brass right here is centered very well inside there. Everything is much more firm on this propeller. It's just a better propeller. And hopefully we're not going to get that wobble. So we'll be putting that on here in a little bit. As you can see, we have piles of stuff over here. And I'm going to get into what every little piece does. Right now we're going to talk about the 18650 battery spot welding machine that I got. This is a Sunco 709A, and I got this off of Banggood. There's a lot of videos out there that tell you kind of how to use this unit, and a couple of little modifications that you can make to make it a better unit, to make it actually like one of the best units out there. So these are not super duper expensive. I think they're around 200 bucks. Pretty happy about this. This you're going to see in an upcoming video, because I want you guys, if you choose 18650s or you choose the batteries that I chose, we're going to make multiple packs. So I have this here so that when we go into 18650s, we can just knock out an 18650 pack. Once again, batteryhookup.com is where you go to get your 18650 batteries. I've got about 40 18650s now, and I'm going to get online and order another, I don't know, maybe another 100, and then we'll put together an 18650 pack for one of the Kayak builds. Okay, so we have all those other batteries, right? We're still going to use those other batteries in one of the Kayaks, so we can have like 3 or 4 Kayaks operating, because we're trying to build systems for you guys that will work for your need, right? So instead of XT60s, I've already bumped these up to XT90s, and we're going to take these, clip all the lines on our battery, or desolder them, and then we're going to solder these guys on, and then we're going to build a new distribution block using XT90s. I promised you guys tilt and trim on the Kayak, and I think it was important once we're hitting that speed level that we're able to trim the motor out, okay? So this right here is capable of 135, 140 pounds. It's 150 millimeter. It's a 12 volt DC. So this will have its own switch setup system. This is the linear actuator that I'm going to use to actually move the prop up and down in the water. So next, check out these little beauties. These are kind of cool. So I got these off of flipski.com. And the interesting thing about these is we're going to have to mount it from the front because the prop spins with the actual body, right? So see that right there? But anyway, so our mounting system is going to come in from the front. We're going to need to keep that very small. These are not super powerful motors, but they've got about a 160 kV, and I do believe that I will be able to get these to speed up to full speed and stay cool enough. We have to check our amp draws, but I think we're going to be able to get full power out of this, which is going to be, for this little guy right here, in the neighborhood of 3,500 RPMs in the water with this plastic prop. And the prop, it's actually fiber reinforced. So this prop is not a 3D printed prop. This is a pretty darn good prop. It looks to me a lot like the material that the Torqeedo prop is made out of. Now that's pretty cool, and I think with this setup, this would be the cheapest way for you guys to get into a powered kayak that I think with one of these will be faster than what you can get out of a huge, big, bulky setup using a trolling motor. And these are cheap, man. They're like $86. So that's fantastic. I don't know how many they have. I hope they have a bunch of them, but we're going to find out. So what we're going to do is we're gonna kick up a dual motor setup like that. So we'll have two of these running. Flipski has an electronic speed control that's made for this. I bought one actually. I bought a 100 amp. These are both capable of 30 amps. So I bought a 100 amp speed controller, and I started thinking about it that when I've been in the water, like these systems are not properly engineered. I guarantee you this prop is not optimum for this motor, and they don't really give you an option on speed control. So what happens is we're drawing more amps than this says it should be drawing. I got the 100 amp speed controller here, and I thought about it. Yes, it's 100 amps. That's double what we're doing, so it would put out 50 amps to this and 50 amps to this, and these are rated for 30, right? And that sounds good. But the reality is, the electronic speed control, it produces a ton of heat. And heat is the enemy. We have to keep these things below like 150, 160, right? But by upping our speed control to the next size up, which was 100 amps capable here and 100 amps capable here, we're only using 30% of the capacity of the ESC on this system, and what that provides us with is longevity of the system. We can run it at max for a long time, at maximum for a long time, without damaging the ESC. That's a positive for me. So this will fit into a Hobie kayak well, right? So all you guys that have the cassettes, like my wife, I'm going to see what her Hobie does with one of these. And this might be the solution, dude. Could you imagine just like a small cassette that's taller than the base of where it sits in the boat, that contains a battery pack, and it's all self-contained, and you just have a little dial on there, and that's your speed, and you just drop this in? What? That would be incredible. This tiny little thing just taking care of your power, weighs a couple pounds, got a plug in there so you can charge your phone. Like, that's what I'm talking about. I think that that'll be incredible. Okay, for our power distribution to the kayak, this is really awesome. So this is a solenoid that is capable of handling 500 amps. So this is going to go in line between the battery, the fuse, and the electronic speed control. And this is going to allow us to switch our power on and off, as well as put one of these safety switches in here. So if you were to fall out of the boat with this will pop off, the whole system shuts down, you're fine, boat stays close to you, kind of just like a jet ski when you fall off a jet ski. Let's talk about power right here. This is an awesome battery. These are from batteryhookup.com, and right now they're showing sold out on their website, but don't worry guys, they've got them. And they also have a bunch of other batteries too. So this is one of the packs we're going to build. This is the SPIM08HP. These batteries were for buses in China, intercity buses, and they were going to essentially power electric buses. This LiPo cell right here is capable of dumping 200 amps safely all the way down to its minimum capacity. So that is a beast. The other cool thing about these batteries, and I know a lot of guys are saying LiPos are dangerous, LiPos blah blah blah. Guys, stop it. Stop believing that. They've watched a video of an RC guy 20 years ago over ramping his motor. These things right here can't even catch fire when shorted, right? So there's a couple videos, I'll link to them. These are very safe batteries, right? They will off gas with steam, but they will not catch fire. In order to get this battery to even do that, you would have to short the battery to itself, and we're going to have safety setups inside that just don't allow that to happen. It's just like you have to want to destroy this battery. How many of you drive around in a car and short your car battery? Not very many people, right? So just because there's videos on the internet of lipos blowing up from 10 years ago, yeah, don't buy it. In fact, so the people that tell me that these are dangerous recommend that I use another battery chemistry that over the past couple years we all know have been a problem. I'm sure we've all seen the video of the guy in the gas station that has his e-cigarette blow up in his pocket. Well, that was an 18650. All your little electric scooter fires, what kind of batteries do you think they were? Do you think they were lipo? No, they weren't. So there you go. So we haven't had any real problems with these at all. Even the RC guys, they'll puff their packs up, but they're using a ton of power out of an individual pack. We are spreading our load, so every one of these is capable, every single battery is capable of handling the load that we're going to put the entire pack under. And we're going to have 12 in series and then like, I don't know, 15 in parallel. We don't know yet. 12 in parallel. We're not really sure how big we want to get the pack. But I do want to show you just how big the pack will be and how much we have available to us. Yeah. Oh, it's getting tall. Okay, so this is a lot of batteries right here. It's a ton. Now you can see why I want to pull all the extra weight off. Not that these plastic things weigh a ton, and this battery is really, really light. But by pulling all this stuff off and then packing these, we can get it a little, just a small amount thinner, right, on each pack. And lipos are made to touch each other too, so that's not a big deal. And then we can easily, deal with this pack. That's going to save us a little bit of space and a little bit of weight. But here's the thing: this is not all the batteries. I have 2 times this many, right? So we are dealing with 4 kayaks, but I'm building modular battery packs that I can take, like, let's say we want to go really, really fast, right? We're going to go out and play on the lake today. So I'll set the battery pack up to where I just plug it in a different way. It'll give me full power, right? Full power drain. Let's say I know that I'm going to be on the river for a 100-mile river trip. And I want this to be my battery to handle the river trip, as well as this thing can power my cell phone, it can power cameras, it can do everything. This is going to be an insane amount of power on reserve, ready to go when I'm just tootling around down a river trip, paddling more often than not. And then also when we're going for the record of longest range kayak, I think we're going to cap that at 100 miles. It depends on how I feel. But yeah, I think this is going to do it. This is going to be all the battery I need. So I'm going to put a link in the description to batteryhookup.com. I suggest you guys build the pack that I'm building. Now I'm going to show you how to build this. The cool thing about this is like a really simple pack. You don't have to have a spot welding machine to put this together. It's all hand tools and some tape, and you're good to go. It's awesome. Oh wait, soldering too. You gotta have a soldering iron. So the next thing we need to discuss is how we're going to cool this thing. The water bottle trick was, yeah, it was amazing. It was incredible. Of course, we all knew that water pump I was using was going to die, and it's on its last leg. Like, I don't think it's going to last any longer, so we have to come up with our water solution, which was always what we were going to do. So let me show you this real quick. Now, these are water cooling blocks made of aluminum. Copper would be a better material because if you don't know this, copper is very heat conductive, works really well. But this has a line that comes down here, goes over, goes up, turns back around, comes back down, goes over, and then goes back up. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 water lines in this for dissipation of heat, and by the time it comes out the other side, it will be colder. Now these things are really cold right now because they're doing a really good job of picking up all the cool air from that Mr. Cool unit and holding on to it. So I think under standard use, one of these would be completely adequate. And what we would do is go ahead and attach those guys to it right there, and then bam, we're good to go, right? And that'll just be like ambient air. That would work fine for a lot of systems. Some of the ESCs don't even have water cooling on them. If we were to add a fan to this, that would be even better, but we don't want a fan because we don't want that fan exposed to the air. We also don't want this inside a box with a fan blowing on it because that's not really going to give us that much more of an advantage if this was in a sealed environment that just continually gets hotter and hotter, right? So this needs to be outside the box. It needs to be free in the air. The other option is that we can take this and put this actually in the water. We can machine a slot on the motor mount, the actual pole that goes down, and this can be vertical inside there. So it wouldn't even be sticking out. This would all be inside the pipe, welded into place, and then that would be our heat exchanger, and that would be in the water. The problem is, the water around here gets to 80, 90 degrees. Okay, so you're trying to cool something that's 150 with 90 degree water. That can be a little bit of a problem too. So here's what I've come up with for like the super cooling aspect of it. These are Peltier units. So this is TEC thermoelectric cooling, and this is the 06s, which means each one of these pulls 6 amps. Okay, so each one of these pulls as much power as my entire system does when I'm just tootling around. So it's not needed for those situations where you're just kind of cruising. Okay, so these would all go on right here. And what we would have is the hot side and the cold side. Okay, so one of these is going to get up to well over 100 degrees really, really quickly, and the other side is going to get down to a little below freezing pretty quickly, right? This is also going to require its own battery system. Now, we would not need to run this all the time. This is our overheat function. This is when things get hot or things are about to get hot, we can switch it on. Now, one of the issues with these is it works off of the temperature differential for each side. So as the back side gets really, really hot, this side gets really, really cold, and then that heat eventually works over to the other side. So we need to maintain a temperature differential right here that works for us. So in order to keep this as cold as possible, we need to keep this as cold as possible. And how we do that is we remove the heat from this with a heat exchanger. So this would sit on top of here, and water would be forced through this channel, and it would be removing the heat from the Peltier setups, and then we would have a heat exchanger inside the water like we discussed earlier to help remove that heat. And then you have the cool side over here, which will more than likely be flipped around, but we'll have the cool side here, and that will get sandwiched right there, right? Then we take our cool side and we plumb it through our ESC, and that cools the ESC really, really well, really quickly. The pump on this system will always be on. As long as the main motor is on, the pump will be running and it will still be working. So this will actually provide quite a bit of cooling just under normal operations. This is a heat sink. It'll help to dissipate the heat. It's good for that. But another layer of safety to save us from ever frying an ESC in this system is this little guy right here. So this is just a little board. It comes with this install kit, so this will all be covered up, and this will mount up on the dashboard. So this is a switch that will run to a relay, and it has a temperature sensor that will be mounted in here to determine what the temperature of this unit is. And once it reaches a certain temperature, it will automatically turn on the Peltier devices. Now we're going to have the ability to turn that on as well. So we can like we know we're about to do a big run, we'll flip a switch, they turn on, we're good to go. It'll bypass this system. But this is our safety system. If it ever reaches a certain temperature, these kick on. Once it goes down in temperature, they turn off. So it's going to manage itself. I love that. That's awesome. And that's how we're going to keep this battery pack small enough to actually be usable. Now I want to say this right now, and this is very important that you understand this. These things draw a ton of power. This is not an efficient system, right? When this is on, this is going to draw 30 amps. 30 amps. Oh, that's a lot of power, guys. Like, that's a ton of power. So, got to keep that in mind when installing this. This is going to take a big battery. But it's not always going to be needed. It's only there as a backup if we require it. So on a 4-hour run or a 4-hour day, this may only turn on once, like when you hit full throttle. That's it. And then if you're out bombing around, well, you're going to need a battery pack that can manage this power. So the number one way we can remove heat from the system outside of this is by making it more efficient. If we can get the boat out of the water, we can hit plane, and then we can add our extra power, remove those amps, use voltage instead of amperage, then we're removing heat from the system right there. That's our number one thing we have to do. So we need an efficient system before that. And then this can go away once we hit that mark. If we feel that we don't need this, we'll back it out. Or if we feel that we like it and we can get the same thing out of 2 units, well, that's even more efficient. Ooh, she got real nice at the end. So I've got this little battery, and I went ahead and connected this side to the battery using XT60s, and I also made it to where I can unplug this right now. Remember, all this is temporary. Now, you want to tilt up? You want to tilt up, you hit the up button. Now remember, we can go faster than this, but I want it slow, because I don't want to fast tilt and trim. We want to go down, we hit the down button. Now, I want to show you this. I'm going to grab onto this, and I'm going to put pressure on it. I want you to see how much pressure I'm putting on there. You can see I'm kind of flexing the vise and everything. My table weighs 1,600 pounds. I'm going to try to hold it. I can't hold. There's no way. It's too strong. It's good. That's what we want. I can't keep it from moving. So, I think that's good. Tilt and trim on a kayak. Who knew? It's a little big. They make some very expensive. This is like 30 bucks. They make some very expensive, smaller ones, and I might end up using them. They're waterproof. They're marine. They'd probably be about this big. We'd have one on each side, I think, and then that would look really cool. And this being offset, you know, we had to do that, but I don't know. I like it. I like it a lot. You guys never really saw this, but on a previous test video, I made this wing. Okay. In a previous video, I made this airfoil, and if you look right here, this is flat, this is nice and rounded. I'm not a professional wing maker. I didn't even look up like dimensions on this. I just made it. It's a simple concept. Wings are simple. It takes longer for the air or water to travel over the top than it does. Creates a low pressure. It's pretty awesome, right? Really cool stuff. So I mounted it on there, but I mounted it at a bit of an angle, right? Because I thought, well, if I have a steep angle of attack, that'll be better. We'll get more height out of it. And actually, it was a little too much. And then we didn't have tilt and trim. So what I'm going to do is I went ahead and cut it off. I'm going to tack it back on. And like I said, it's not real pretty. It actually should probably be thinner and taper this way and be about twice as wide. Yeah, but anyway, we're going to make a carbon fiber one. I'll show you guys how to do carbon fiber. But this is going on right now for test purposes. We're going to see if we can get this kayak to level out with this particular motor. So I'm going to weld it back on the shaft. God, this is so fast, man. I want to cruise back to the dock at a pretty good clip. The steering's still tight, man. It does not want to move that rudder. I need to extend it a little further. Okay. So there we are. We are at 7 miles an hour. The big old 250-pound guy in the boat. I'm at 8 miles an hour. I'm pushing it a little bit. If this thing can't handle 8 miles an hour, 65 amps, and 3,000 watts, well, we got problems. Steadily cruising at 9. Call that a significant amount of power. I don't know why my amp hour rating's not dropping though. Because it should be dropping pretty quick. I mean, we're flying. We're hauling butt. Don't get me wrong, guys, this is fast. Faster than you saw me when I had that smile in the last video. It says the battery should run for about 11 minutes at this speed. Oh, this is a good test. 75 degrees on the plates, so those should be cool. I feel no heat coming from anywhere. 88 degrees. 90. 193 or 93. No, what? 79. This is where I would expect the highest temperature. 92. Let's check the plug. 86. Check the... Oh man, heat is not a problem. We don't need a complicated cooling system. We're gonna keep it simple. I thought I would need more. Well, this is fantastic. I'm really happy with this. I'm really happy with the heat. We don't have any. It's pretty simple. There's no heat in this system. It's good. It should have heated up if it was gonna heat up, and it didn't, which means our amp draw is really not that much. I do wanna do like an amp draw test in the water on the 3-phase lines, but this isn't a problem. I mean, now we need bigger battery pack. Oh my God. So awesome. Okay. So incredible. You guys just need to know what it feels like to do 10 miles an hour in a kayak. It's good. It's good. I think 11 and a half. Like, I want to see 15. I don't know. I don't know where we want to take this. We need more power. Let's do more power. Do you guys want to see more power? I'll tell you what. Pulling into the dock right here. Here's the deal. I think if we can crowdfund it, I can make a much more powerful system. So if you guys are interested in helping out with this, let me know. Our motor is capable of 20S. It seems to be handling this like nothing. We're currently running it at 12S. The maximum the speed controller can run is 14S. So that really doesn't give us that much more power, but 20S would. 20S would give us a significant amount of power. So, thoughts? Make a 20S system. Okay, well, everyone keeps asking me why I build this stuff so strong. And there's the answer. Now that's actually like a weld that failed. We need to fix it. We lost half of this plate because I realized I had a step here, so I ended up machining it off, and I tried to put a trough in there, but that's not going to work. So I need to reinforce it like I reinforced this one, because it's a lot of stress. You got there are people like, man, that's too beefy, you don't need that much. It's not the case, guys. It's this big for a reason. There's a lot of torque on this, enough to snap 2 full welds all the way through on both sides. So now granted, it wasn't the biggest weld in the world once I had to remove some stuff, but I did add another weld back on there. But that's what happens. Unfortunately, I didn't get any video of the test before the part broke. We had a couple issues. I lost steering, we lost tilt and trim, and the electronic speed control started glitching very similarly to the last electronic speed control that I originally thought was water damage. So we may have a problem with the ESC. I think we need to just go with a completely different electronic speed control, but we'll know soon. I'll run some more tests on it. We'll put it back out in the water. We'll go ahead and add an extra battery to it. We'll see if a little bit of extra amperage supplied to it will help it out on high speed. But next up is the Hobie dual motor system. I'm going to knock that one out really quick because I can just kind of plug and play a lot of the different stuff that I already have, and then we can get to testing those motors. And then following that is the universal mount that I need to build for you guys. I need to get that system engineered. I'd really like to put out a solid low-cost mount for you guys, so that'll be coming too. I'm just going to let this video of me playing out in the water play for you guys. I know this is long content, long form, but I think a lot of you really want to see this. The guys that it matters to, they want to see this project, and they want to see, you know, this out on the water uninterrupted. So happy to help out. Just remember, hit that link in the description to help this project move forward. And guys, I think we got something special here. This is awesome. Enjoy. I hate having to slow down to turn. That's just how much thrust there is, though. 8 miles an hour. 9 miles an hour. It's good. Let's trim all the way forward. Oh yeah, that makes a huge difference. But just cruising is so good on this thing. Going back through my own wake. That's a pretty decent wake for a kayak, guys. Look at that. We need to eliminate some of that wake though. That means we're plowing the water. And shockingly, 8 amp hours per pack is lasting a long time. So big wake, turn into it. There we go. Ugh. Yeah, we gotta do something with the steering. It's not safe. I can't turn fast enough. Let's extend all the way back. There we go. That's better. Someone had mentioned putting the battery in the front for weight distribution. The problem with putting the battery in the front is it doesn't weigh anything. Like that whole pack back there is super light. Oh, what a beautiful day on the water. So what I'm looking at, this is at 44.7 volts. What I'm looking at is 40 volts. Once I hit 40 volts, I'm done. I'll run out of pack. And cruising at these speeds, even hitting the power a little bit, it's fine. Doesn't really do anything. And at under 6 miles an hour, steering's not an issue. I really feel the vibration of that prop though, the unbalanced nature of that prop. It's a crappy prop. I'm gonna try to balance it and I should be able to get it to feel better, but it's still pretty rough. Okay, we just hit protection. You feel it turn off? How are y'all doing? Good, testing.